YouTube, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video, period. So today's video is going to be an everyday no foundation makeup tutorial. I do this every day usually, like for school and stuff, but I add a little extra things, so I don't always wear blush, but I'll show you guys me wearing blush in this. I'll tell you guys the things that I don't normally do like every day. Sometimes it's just extra stuff I'm feeling. Let's get straight into the video and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. First, I like to do my lashes. A lot of people like to do their lashes last, but I prefer to do them first because it's just the most hassle, I guess. So I just like to curl them first before I put the lashes on. And then I'll go in with this Maybelline Great Lash Mascara. I don't forget that I can have this, baby. Nobody else true. Nobody else makes you. Nobody. Then we're gonna get our tweezers. I use this Duo lash glue. It's the black one. Lashes are from Skincare Factory, but they're not on the website yet, so I will let you guys know when they are. I don't know if you guys have like a preferred lash that you guys start on, but I like to start on my left because then I feel like if I can get the left one down, then I can get the right one down pretty easy, you know? Sometimes they're too long for my eyes, so I just like to cut the extra lash off that, and then I just like to match it to my lash just so I can see how the eyelash is gonna apply. So I'll let it dry for a little bit because it does dry pretty fast. So I just let it sit just for a little bit. If I don't place them the correct way, then I do use my eyelash curler later and it puts it exactly on the lash line, so don't worry about that. And as I'm letting this one dry, I'll just be pushing this one more on my lash line so it can stick. So the eyelashes are on. Like I was saying, they will look better when they're drying a little bit and I start curling them. So now we're gonna get to prepping the face. So I like to prep with this Ormedic balancing serum, and this, you can get this off Skincare Factory. Lately I've been using this NYX Honey Do Me Up primer and it works pretty good. I'm still figuring out if this is the reason of my breaking out, and it might be, but like overall it makes your makeup look really good, I think. If you guys have any other suggestions of primers, then comment them down below because I do want to try different primers as well. I don't like the e.l.f. one though, so I know a lot of people do, but I don't really like that one. It does make your makeup really sticky, so if you touch your face, you can definitely feel that it sticks. So I like to go on with a few different concealers. I don't know why, but I do like to go in with the Fit Me concealer in the shade 25 first, and I'll just apply that under my eyes. And then I'll put it on any marks that I have. Spot conceal, but the two concealers that I mix together get pretty thick together, so it's kind of like full coverage of the cheek. Then I'll go on with the L'Oreal Paris concealer in the shade 375 Latte. And I'll go in the same places because this is a better coverage concealer and the two shades mix pretty good together. And sometimes I'll go in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, but we'll see how this blends in. Then I like to go back in and see if I need it. Then I'll get my beauty sponge and I'll just spray it with some water. Get it pretty damp, but then I don't like it to be real wet, so I'll just sit there and let it dry for a little bit and air dry it. And then I'll just blend all of this, and I like to blend straight like this, so I don't go up. I just like to blend so it gives you that facelift. And then whatever the excess is on this beauty sponge, I'll then go on the top of my eye just to add a little bit of color. And then I'll go in with another concealer to lighten up the bottom of my eyes. And I'll do it the same way because this is a really lighter concealer, so I like to just, you know, do a little facelift thing. And this is in the shade 15, and it's the Fit Me concealer again.
I don't want fast, baby, I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you. Fighting on my mind, fighting on my life for you.
So then I like to go in with my bronzer, and this is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer in the shade 6675. And then I'll go in with this bronzer brush. The brushes are not professional brushes or anything. They're just my mom's old brushes. I honestly use whatever brushes, and then I'll just go in with my cheekbone. And then I'll go on my forehead a little bit, just so we can add some color, because I don't use really concealer or anything up here, so that balances it out. And then I'll do some on my jawline. And then sometimes it feels like this bronzer is a little too light. Then I like to go in with the Hoola Benefit bronzer, and this is in the shade, I'm not sure what the shade is, but I like to just go over it just a little bit. So after I do my bronzer, then I like to bake, or not really bake. I don't like to let it sit for too long, but I do let it sit so it can get that good definition. So I'll go in with my little bitty beauty sponge, and that's what I use for under my eye. I'm gonna go back in with my other beauty sponge and just go under and start blending again so that it reduces creases. And then I use my Laura Mercier, however you say it, powder, and then I'll dip it in a little bit and go under that eye. And you want to make sure nothing's on your face, like little fuzzies or like eyelashes, just whatever, so that when you're baking or putting your powder on, it doesn't stick and make it harder to come off. Then I'll switch sides and go to like the sharper side and dip it in, and then create that line effect like I did with the concealer. So just like that, and then I'll go back in. And sometimes if it's not straight, I'll just go back in or whatever, but that's pretty good. And then I'll do the same to the other side, and then I'll go back in with this and start blending, then do the same thing. And then I will take this is a beauty blender, a regular, because it's harder, and then I'll just dip it in on this side and carve out the bronzer that we did right here on the cheekbones. Fighting on my mind, fighting on my life for you. I'm trusting you, babe. And they're sisters, not twins, so if they're uneven, yeah, they definitely are really uneven, but wow. I try to get them as even as possible, but they're not always the most even, so it's okay. But I'll just let that sit for a little bit. And then lately, I feel like my bronzer has not been showing that good, so I'll go on with this e.l.f. contouring brush, and then I'll go back in with my Hoola Benefit bronzer, pat it in there a little bit, and then just bronze. And then I'll go on my forehead a little bit and drag it down in the cheekbones. And then I'll go back in with the brush I already used and just soften it up a little bit. And I'll do that on my cheekbones when I take this off. But then I just do it on my forehead. And just like that. Now I like to go into my eyebrows. So as you can see, my steps of doing it is just, it's definitely different from other people. Some people do their eyebrows first, last, whatever. Mine's like in the middle of everything. But I don't fill them in or anything, so that makes it a lot easier. So I'll go in with my Maybelline. I like to do this so it's a base, because then I do go in with my Eco Styler Gel. And that can sometimes flake up easy, so this just balances it out and makes it not flake so much. Then I go in with this Eco Styler gel. This is something I did recently, so, and it works very good. It sticks them down in place. I used to use just the CoverGirl, and as you can see, it's mixed with like concealer and stuff. Then I'll just start brushing up with the leftover gel. And then I'll go in and start carving them out, I guess you could say.
I don't wanna slap me on like I'm throwing a fit.
So this is how the first one looks. And I usually go back in at the end of the routine and just fix them up because sometimes they do move, but then when they dry, they stick down in place and they don't move, so. But sometimes I get them on the first try, or sometimes they're cooperating that day, but sometimes they aren't. So that's how they both look for now, until we start fixing them up again if we have to. So now this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the routine. I like to go in and curl my eyelashes so that they're on the line. So I'll show you guys before. You can see they're not all the way on the line. They're just kind of looking like they're everywhere. So I like to first just push them into my lash line so I make sure they're sticking and that they're not falling off anywhere. And then I'll go in and I'll curl them.
You, babe, I want this. I want this. You I got so bad.
So they are all on the line. I don't know if you guys can tell if it made a difference, but now what I like to do is I like to pat this powder in a little bit. I still leave some over here, just so that in the end it can still be sharp. And then we'll go in and soften them up. And then I'll pat this in. So now I like to go in with this little brush. I don't know what kind of brush you would call this, but people use it for a bunch of different things, or at least I do. I'll go in with my Hoola bronzer, and then I'll get a good amount and pat it. And then I like to go in on the top of my eye. So like an eyeshadow. And then I'll do the same to the other eye. Then with the access, I like to do a little contouring of the nose. So I'll just go right here in the middle. And then I'll go to the sides of my nose like this. And then I'll make that little ball like this. So I'll just go in circular motion. And then I'll drag it up to carve out the nose. Then I'll drag it even up to my eyebrows like this. So just following the lines of your nose. So this is the part I was talking about the blush look. So I don't typically do this all the time because it's not really necessary. I like to do this when I'm like going out, but sometimes I do it occasionally. I'll take this brush. It's called a Blush 02 brush. I'm not sure where it's from. And then the e.l.f. blush palette. And it just looks like this. And I just will mix this, this, and this. So I'll just go like that. And dap it a little bit. And then smile, like a little fake smile. And just pat, but then brush up so it can just give you that higher cheekbone effect. And then I'll do a little bit on my nose. And I'll pat it because I see that more when you pat, it applies more. And then I'll go back in with my beauty sponge and then just pat it into my skin so that it's not too harsh and it's really just set in my face. So this is like the last step, sort of, kind of. So I'll go on with my Milani highlight. This is all messed up. In the shade 03 Sun Glow. I've had this for like more than a year and this works so good. I love the highlight color and it lasts me this long. So I'll go in with the same brush I used to contour my nose and dap it and then put it in the ball of my nose right here. And then I'll just spread it out like this so that it doesn't look just too piled up in one spot. I'll go in with this brush. Don't know what it is, but I'll dap it in and then go in by my nose so it can just highlight the middle of my nose. And then I'll go in with this highlighter brush, and then I'll just go in right here, some of my chin and forehead. And then I'll go in with these two brushes, one little angled one for my eyebrow, and then this little one for my middle of the corner of my eye. And you want to make sure hair's off all your brushes too, because I have a cat, so it gets cat hair on it sometimes just out of nowhere, and then sometimes your eyes are like messed up. I'll go in with a Q-tip and I'll put my mouth on it, and then go in the middle of my eyes to make sure there's no like eye boogers or this mascara or just anything in the middle of your eyes before you put on your highlight, because sometimes it looks weird like if something's in the middle of your eye. And then just apply that. And before I do the highlight, I'll go back in to fix my eyebrows like I was saying a little bit ago, because they did move a little bit. And I'll just reshape them up. And they're already really sticky, so, or not sticky, but they're already really in place. Just go in with some mascara, the same mascara I used as before. And I'll put it on my eyelashes so that it looks good and looks like it matches my natural lashes. And sometimes, you know, eyeshadow or whatever you guys use can get on your eyelashes and make them dusty. So I'll just put on some lip gloss. This is from Skincare Factory as well. And sometimes I'll line my lips like if I'm going out, but like for this everyday routine, I don't. And I'll show you guys. I've been liking the NYX eyebrow pencil, and it's in the shade 914 medium brown. And I'll just line them, and then I'll put the Fit Me concealer, the 25 shade one, and then mix that in a little bit and like pat it with my beauty blender. And then I'll just put in a clear gloss, or I was using the Milani gloss in the shade Champagne. And that one's really good. I just don't have really any in there. So I'll just use this for like a clear look. And this really moisturizes my lips and make them feel really nice. And I'll go back in, since my eyebrows are all dry, and just dap it in a little bit and just pat it a little bit right at that arc of your eyebrows. And sometimes if it's too harsh, you can just go in with your finger a little bit and just fix it up. And also you can go back in if this is too harsh, because sometimes mine are too harsh and I have to just go back in and, you know, fix it up. And you can just pat over it a little bit, or if you want to add more blush, you can, or do whatever you need to do, just your final touches. My last and favorite step is setting spray. So I've been liking this Make It Last original Milani setting spray, but my favorite I usually use is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. So that's my go-to, but I ran out of that, so this is like a good dupe or whatever. Or the Make It Dewy one's good too. So I really like to drench my face, as you can see. It's kind of funny, but this just makes it set in place really nice. And I forgot to mention that I do, if I'm going out somewhere, I do like to go in with the brush that I did my nose highlight. Sometimes I'll just put that with my bronzer for like the eyeshadow look, so I can have like a little sparkle on the top of my eyes. But that's not an everyday thing, but that's just something you can do as well if you want to add a little more. Another thing I also like to do sometimes is go in with bottom mascara. I think bottom mascara is really pretty, but if you want it just more natural, then you can just leave your regular eyelashes and leave it just like that. Here is another look of the makeup, just up close. The end of my makeup routine. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below, or suggestions for makeup. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. In and out, arguing, trifling, difficult.